Have you ever found yourself stuck in a conversation with someone who just will not listen? Someone who thinks they already know everything? It's exhausting, it's frustrating, and over time, it drains your energy. You start wondering why you even opened your mouth in the first place. But what if I told you there's a simple line that can quietly shift the entire dynamic of that conversation? Interacting with arrogant people is one of the hardest communication challenges. They dominate discussions, they dismiss other perspectives, and they often make you feel small, ignored, or invisible. Talking to them can feel like talking to a wall. Their constant need to be right and their habit of belittling others turns what should be a normal conversation into a battle of egos. And the damage doesn't stop there. It affects relationships, work environments, even your self-respect. You walk away frustrated, replaying the conversation in your head, asking yourself why it felt so pointless. The truth is, arrogance rarely comes from strength. Most of the time, it comes from insecurity. Many arrogant people are quietly compensating for feelings of inadequacy. They interrupt, they talk over you, they refuse to acknowledge your point. Think about that coworker who always has to one-up you, or that friend who cannot take a hint and always needs the spotlight. They are not trying to understand you, they are trying to prove something to themselves or to others. This behavior can show up in obvious ways or subtle ones, but the result is the same. Connection becomes difficult, and respect feels one-sided. So what do you do when you're faced with this kind of attitude? You don't argue, you don't escalate, and you don't shrink yourself to keep the peace. Instead, you use one simple line. When they push their opinion on you, when they dismiss your perspective, when they try to dominate the conversation, you calmly say, "I see where you're coming from." That's it. This line works like verbal judo. It redirects their energy without feeding their ego. You acknowledge their perspective without surrendering your own. You don't validate the arrogance, but you don't fight it either. And that's what catches them off guard. Suddenly, the tension shifts. They pause. They reassess. In many cases, it forces them to become more aware of how they're communicating. Sometimes it even encourages them to listen because you didn't challenge their identity. You stayed grounded, and that's power. Dealing with arrogant people does not have to be a losing battle. You don't need louder words. You don't need sharper arguments. You need control. By using that simple line, you protect your confidence and change the direction of the conversation. It's a small phrase, but it can lead to much bigger changes in how people treat you. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you dealt with someone who always thinks they know it all? Have you used a line that actually worked? Share your experience in the comments. And if you want to sharpen your communication skills even further, make sure to check out my other videos. They are designed to help you stay calm, confident, and in control, no matter who you're dealing with. Because the strongest voice in any conversation is the one that doesn't need to prove anything.